Good morning and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just thought I'd intro this video rather than jumping straight in. Today I'm bringing to you my October wrap up of all the books that I read in October. It was a good reading month. I listened to some fabulous audiobooks. I think I'm going to do a kind of hybrid next month between the vlog style and the sit down style. I think I'm still going to film them the day that I've read them, but I'm going to come and sit here and film them. So let me know what you think about that. Hope you had a good reading month, and let's just roll into the books that I read this month and what I thought of them. So I am in bed and I've just finished reading The Silent Patient, which I'm going to have to give 5 stars to because it came in the post yesterday and I haven't been able to put it down, so I've just finished it. This is quite a slow burner of a psychological thriller following from 2 perspectives of the patient and the therapist, and I really wasn't expecting the ending. About 3/4 of the way through I thought I'd got it figured out, but actually didn't. So yeah, that's my first read of October. So I hope you don't mind that you're joining me in the dark, but I have a headache, so you've just lit up with this little light here instead of me putting the main line on. But today I finished Stags. This was by M.A. Bennett and was kindly sent to me as part of an Instagram tour. I think by the time you see this video you will have seen the tour on my Instagram, and the tour is actually for the sequel to this, but they ever so kindly sent me the first book as well. I love this. I think The Guardian says it best, which says a darkly compelling examination of the allure of privilege, and it was just very British, very kind of a soft, I wouldn't call it thriller. I guess I haven't read The Hunger Games, but I guess it's kind of a soft version of what The Hunger Games is like. But I will tell you, there is a Fault in Our Stars spoiler in this, so if you don't know what happens in Fault in Our Stars, don't read this because there is a spoiler in it. Luckily, I already knew what happens. I would have given this a 5-star. I really liked how it built up. I liked the main character, Greer. I hated the characters I was supposed to hate. But, you know from the beginning of this book, the person that is going to die. And I kind of found in between them dying and the end of the book, there was this kind of 40 pages that just seemed to drag, and it was like, okay, the story's over, why are you giving me all this bump? And then right at the end it smacked me with something that's made me want to read on to the next book. So I'm glad that I have the next book to read. So I don't know whether I'll be picking that one up next. I'm trying to finish another book and then I think I'll be picking up the sequel to Stags. So it has just gone midnight and I've just finished reading Through the Wall. I'm going to give this a 3-star. It would have probably got a lower star apart from the fact that I haven't been able to put it down. The premise was really good. A kind of grass is greener on the other side kind of thing. The story is told between Lexi and Harriet. I can't believe I've literally just finished it and I forgot her name. Anyway, Lexi and Harriet live next door to each other and are hearing each other's lives through the wall, and they both kind of get the idea that the other one is living a more glamorous, perfect life than they are. There was a lot of problematic things in this. I notice more and more now diet culture creeping up in books, and a lot of the comments, I just didn't think there was any need for it. The way that Harriet is portrayed, I'm not sure, but I really loved Lexi. Lexi is trying for a baby throughout the book, and a lot of the things that she says about her life are kind of how I feel at the moment, being stuck in this kind of limbo of not working and feeling angry at my body. So I really related to Lexi and really loved her. Oh, my light's just gone off. That's how long I've been awake reading this. But yeah, all in all, I was a bit disappointed by this book, so I would give it a 3-star, and yeah. So you are once again joining me in my book room. I'm sorry if you can hear the bath running in the background. I've made it a little bit cosy in here with lights and things. This is where I come on a night to de-stress. have my pyjamas on with, you know, obligatory staying, definitely come here for the top quality content, don't you? Anyway, today I finished reading Davies Secrets for the Mad. At the moment I seem to be reading books as soon as I get them, which is great, but I am neglecting a massive TBR pile down here that I need to start getting to. I love this book. This is everything that I should have had as a 15-year-old, but even as a 29-year-old that's kind of got used to living with my health issues, it was just so nice. There's tips on little things to do in here to improve your mental health. There's also stories about Dodie's past relationships and things. And if you don't know who Dodie is, please go and check out her YouTube channel. She has got one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard. So yeah, I'll give that a 4-star. I think if I'd read it when I was 15, it would have been a 5-star, but there were just a couple of bits that didn't interest me. And I feel horrible saying that because it was such a lovely book. But yeah, if you have any anxious teenagers in your life, get this for them. Or if you are an anxious 29-year-old, get it for yourself. So I've just finished reading Rosemary's Baby. I usually read more modern books, but I picked this up because I'd heard a lot about it. And it says on the back that it was meant to be terrifying. Well, nothing about it terrified me. Whether I'm just more into psychological kind of horror than this kind of horror, but I just don't get it. So I'm giving that a 3 stars because I kept going with it because I kept thinking I need to know what happens, I need to know what happens. But then the ending I was just like, oh, that was not worth me reading, so I wouldn't recommend it, and that will be going to a charity shop. All the piles of books behind me, there is a project going on behind the scenes in my book nook. I have just finished listening to Daisy Jones and the Six on audiobook. I've mentioned before that audiobooks are not generally my favourite unless they're non-fiction, and especially if it's somebody telling their own story, because I feel like the audiobook, you really get to hear the author's emotions and things. Well, this was fantastic. This has been my favourite reading experience this year, hands down. Basically, it's about the Six, who I didn't even know whether they were fictional or non-fictional as I was going along, because it just had me that emotionally charged. At times I wanted to be Daisy, I wanted to be Camilla, I wanted to be Karen, sometimes I wanted to be with them. And it's blown me away. I've laughed, I've ugly cried. Yeah, and I don't know if I'd have actually enjoyed the physical book as much. Like I say, it was a full cast recording it, and I will be looking out for the book in a charity shop to see what I get from that. But seriously, wow, 5 stars. So today I have finished reading Holly Bourne's Am I Normal Yet? Now I'm really torn on how to rate this, and I'm going to go with a 4-star. A lot of the content of this I would put as a 5-star. I can't speak about the OCD rep because I don't have OCD, but there are some really beautiful things. And actually I want to read you an extract from this that I don't think will be a spoiler. But the only reason that it's getting a 4-star and not a 5 is that I think there's a lot of it that just didn't need to be there. There were some long bits that just kind of, I don't know, made the story drag a little bit for me. And yeah, I wish I could have cut out, I'd say about 100 pages. It didn't need to be as long as it was. So the 2 things that I want to read you is, maybe not, but when they go through bad patches, which everyone does, they end up in other bad places. Down the pub, in a casino, in a stranger's bed, in a bad relationship. If they know what's good for them, they may end up in a yoga class or running in a park. What's your point? Everyone's on the cliff edge of normal. Everyone finds life an utter nightmare sometimes, and there's no normal way of dealing with it. There is no normal. There's only what's normal to you. And I just thought that was so beautifully written. If the whole book could have been like that and it just hadn't have had these big bits of nothing, it would have got a 5-star, but I'm going to give that a 4-star. And I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the Spinster series. I think I've got How Hard Can Love Be, which is the next one in the trilogy. and then I need to read What's a Girl Got to Do. But that won't be just yet, as I need to move on to my books that I need to review now. So it's quite late now, and today I finished Dogs by M.A. Bennett. I'm not going to say too much about this because it is going to be in a Instagram post, which is part of a book tour. But I gave this I think I'd say 3.5 star, but obviously Goodreads doesn't do that, so I'm going to bump it up to a 4 on there. I can't really tell you much about it because it is a sequel, and if I tell you any of the plot of this, it will give away the plot of the first one. So yeah, that's that. Quarter to midnight last night, I finished reading The Wrong Side of Cai. This was kindly sent to me as part of Darkroom Tours book tours and is over on my Instagram. I loved this. It's a YA novel, and it was really well written. I quite like high schooly American YAs. I think they're my favourite. And it is about Vanessa, who I don't want to say too much to give it away, but when a sex tape that she's made is leaked, it's all about how the guy doesn't really get any of the blame. It all goes on the girl, and it's very contemporary and up to date with issues, but actually it's quite light-hearted and sweet at the same time. So I give that a 5 star, and I'm going to move on to reading something a bit more gritty, I think, next. Joining me in bed, and I have just finished listening to Everything Happens for a Reason and Other Lies I've Loved. It has been a fantastic listen. I wasn't sure I was going to love it because it's quite religion based and I'm not religious, but Kate Bowler talks through being diagnosed with cancer and all the kind of really shit people say to you, like everything happens for a reason. It was quite a short read. It is, I think, 4.5 hours, but I listened to it on 1.5 speed, so it was quicker than that. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I've listened to it all today, and I would definitely recommend that, and I'm going to try and pick up the book as well. So I've just finished reading Starvaker, and I'm really torn on this one. I've rated it a 5 star. I've rated it a 3 star in the end. The atmosphere created in this book was absolutely brilliant. I've never read a book where the atmosphere is so much like it. However, the story itself started off really slow, the middle was really good, and then it finished really weak, so I really can't give it any more than a 3 star. The premise of this is that the Willoughbys have lost their son Ewan, who's 5 years old. You know right from the beginning that he's died, but it takes most of the story to find out the circumstances. Also, there are some creepy things going on, but it just fell a bit flat for me, and it's not one that I will read again, so I'm going to be putting this on my swap group. And so I've lost my reading mojo a little bit this weekend. I spent the weekend in hospital having some treatment for my, I want to say endometriosis, because half the consultants have said that that's what they think it is. But anyway, my illness that I have, I'm currently awaiting surgery for it, but this weekend I had to go into hospital for some treatment, and the treatment's left me feeling quite sick and dizzy. So yeah, I'm being kind to myself. There's loads that I want to read, but I just couldn't get stuck into something too meaty. And so the other day I read The Cat Mummy by Jacqueline Wilson. This was an easy read, loved it, 4 stars. You can't beat a Jacqueline Wilson, can you? I have just finished reading Agatha, Raisin and the Potted Gardener. This one was a bit slow to get going, but when it did, it's everything I love about the Agatha Raisin series. If you haven't read the Agatha Raisin series, Agatha has moved from London to a small Cotswold village and unintentionally finds herself becoming a bit of a detective. This is the 3rd book in the series, and I'll go on to the next one. So I'm currently surrounded by books on the floor because I'm rearranging my shelves again. But I just wanted to show you that this morning I finished Lullaby by Layla Suleimani. I rate this a 4-star. I think it's to do with the fact that it's a translation and I found it really hard to get into at first. But I actually really loved the atmosphere of it. And the story really freaked me out a little bit. I kind of like anything. It's weird because I think you knew that what was going to happen from the beginning, and I just all the way. I really hate these because I don't know what to say without spoiling it, but I really enjoyed it. 4-star. I would recommend it.